Tonight on KGW News, 14 years on and still searching for answers.
There's bad days and there's good days.
Why Kyron Horman's family and detectives haven't given up hope. Plus, the Portland Teachers Union withdraws a controversial guide, with some saying it had waded into politics, even propaganda.
The guide is extremely one-sided.
Then the arts group that's thriving and optimistic about the future of downtown.
Doesn't mean we're out of the woods, we're still rebuilding, but this is certainly a win for us and we're thrilled about it.
And later, all aboard for the Rose City.
They're coming from all over the United States. They're excited to come and they're proud to be here.
With American and Canadian sailors about to descend on the waterfront for Fleet Week. A very good evening, everyone. And first at 11, after a months-long nationwide search, Portland Public Schools has named a new superintendent, and one some might say is a familiar face. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. Dr. Kimberly Armstrong is a former PPS administrator and most recently worked as the number 2 across the Columbia in Vancouver's Evergreen District. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom with Armstrong's plans to help guide more than 40,000 students. Alma?
Well, David, Dr. Armstrong will officially start work on July 1st. While she wasn't available to talk with us today, she did discuss her vision directly with families and educators last week as part of the district's interview process.
Dr. Kimberly Armstrong, leaving the role as a deputy superintendent for Evergreen Public Schools and joining Portland Public Schools, taking the top spot. She's a parent, a coach, and a teacher with more than 2 decades of public education experience.
I know what education in classrooms meant for a student like me, and I knew that I could show up every day and be about that work.
Armstrong replaces Guadalupe Guerrero, who stepped down in February. On Tuesday, School Board Chair Gary Hollins offered his praise, writing, "Dr. Armstrong is just what PPS needs in this time of opportunity and challenge." And challenges they've had: declining enrollment, an often contentious teachers' strike last fall, and budget shortfalls. Last month, the board approved $30 million in cuts for the upcoming year.
Cuts furthest away from the classrooms, although I know that can't always be guaranteed. It's definitely something that needs to be held as a priority.
Armstrong told families at Grant High School last week she's ready to take on all challenges.
Entering in education at 31 and now being in education for 20 years tells you that this isn't a choice, a career choice. This is a lifestyle.
And she'll begin with academic achievement gaps.
Priority number 1 are closing those gaps. Number 2 is the infrastructure. I would say the safety and security of all of our schools. I think number 3 is getting out in the community. I am so excited to connect with PAT and other union groups that are in service to our classrooms, that are in service to our teachers.
Tomorrow at an 8 a.m. meeting, the board will vote to appoint Dr. Armstrong officially to the superintendent position. She's expected to address the board members and then the media. David?
A big decision for a big district. Thank you, Alma. Meanwhile, the Portland Teachers Union just took down some pro-Palestinian teaching materials after some Jewish leaders and parents called the teaching guides anti-Semitic. Take an example. Some of the pages refer to Hamas, which the U.S. has designated as a terror group, as a Palestinian resistance force. And local Jewish leaders say they have already heard of instances where Jewish students did not feel comfortable speaking up in class. They say they worry this type of rhetoric could lead to a rise in anti-Semitism.
So we have heard from many Jewish parents and Jewish teachers that they feel marginalized.
Some Jewish teachers at PPS told us they feel the approach is also a violation of educational ethics. We reached out to the teachers union for an interview. Instead, they sent us a statement saying they have a history of speaking out against injustice and are committed to keeping schools free of discrimination. They added that some of the material here did not go through their normal review process. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a Clackamas County grand jury has decided a deadly police shooting was justified. On April 30th, officers shot and killed Andrew Song inside his Happy Valley home. He was accused of holding his wife and 2 children hostage. After several hours of negotiating, police say Song made a threat toward his family. That's when authorities entered the building and shot him. The grand jury found the officers and deputies acted legally under Oregon law. Well, this is some of what Gresham police found when they arrested a suspected thief who returned to the scene of a crime. The man had bolt cutters, a suspected stolen credit card, and some meth. Plus, police say he was driving a stolen car that he decided to park in a handicap spot. This is right in front of the LA Fitness in Gresham. That's where investigators say Fernando Carrillo first stole from the locker room, taking a wallet, keys, and a car back in March. When he went back to the gym yesterday and asked for a day pass, the employee there recognized him and called for help. And Gresham police are continuing to search for 2 missing siblings. 10-year-old Alex Lewis and 12-year-old Alyssa Lewis have been missing for a week now. Their mother says they may have been spotted with extended family and friends, though we understand it could be a case of custodial interference, which is a felony in Oregon. Anyone with information here is asked to call 911. 14 years ago today, Kyron Horman disappeared. This is an age-progressed picture of what Horman might look like today. The second grader was 7 years old when he vanished in 2010. Horman was last seen at Skyline School in Northwest Portland and has never been found. Investigative reporter Kyle Aboshi has been covering his disappearance since day one.
The missing boy's mother confirms there have been ground searches in just the past few months, and police are using new software and technology to help with the investigation. The sheriff's office even created a new website with information about the case where people can submit tips. Hard to believe, but it was 14 years ago, June 4th, 2010. Kyron Horman was last seen at Skyline School in Northwest Portland. His stepmother, Terry Horman, even snapped a photo of Kyron in front of his science project. The second grader had a big smile, wore glasses, and a CSI t-shirt. But that afternoon, Kyron didn't return home on his school bus as scheduled. For days, the FBI and local police coordinated what would be one of the largest search efforts in state history. Kyron Horman has never been found. His biological mom, Desiree Young.
There's bad days and there's good days, and I struggle because it's loss. It's not having my son here. It's every time we have an event or every time my older son got married, Kyron's missing out on all of that, and it's sad.
There have been no arrests in the case, although a judge referred to Kyron's stepmom as, quote, a prime suspect. Terry Horman was the last known person to see Kyron the day he disappeared. She's long denied any wrongdoing. The sheriff's office is offering a $50,000 reward for information helping to solve this case. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
Still searching for answers there. Well, a Beaverton woman just won a huge lawsuit against Johnson & Johnson, with a Portland jury awarding her $260 million. 49-year-old Kyung Lee was diagnosed last year with mesothelioma, which is incurable. Her lawsuit alleged Johnson & Johnson's talc-based powder caused her cancer. That powder, which is now discontinued, is found to contain trace amounts of asbestos, which is the most common cause of mesothelioma. We talked to the family's attorney today.
They're feeling super relieved that a jury heard their story and valued Kyung's life and affirmed what she's going through, and most importantly, held Johnson & Johnson responsible.
Although it's never admitted any wrongdoing, Johnson & Johnson has been hit with many lawsuits since reports first emerged of the asbestos connection with some of its products. We're taking a closer look tonight at the final version of a 2-year homeless response action plan released by the city of Portland and Multnomah County. By December of next year, they're aiming to house or shelter an additional 2,700 homeless people, increase shelter capacity by 40%, and add 1,000 shelter beds. So how do we get from here to there? Well, the proposal says it all starts this month by beginning to identify 20 commercial buildings in downtown to convert into housing, and by opening 276 new shelter beds by the end of 2024. Homeless advocates like Scott Kerman at Blanchet House say they are happy to see ambitious goals.
Maybe they won't hit every target, But if we're working toward those targets and making significant progress, then we're going to see a lot of positive change in our community, and a lot of people are going to be helped.
The city and county will be voting on a final plan sometime next month. You can check out the details on KGW.com. And the homeless crisis is one of many reasons Portland's downtown continues to struggle. But next at 11, one group is thriving in the heart of the city. We're going to show you who and how they're doing it. Plus, the big ships are about to sail up the Willamette, the bridges that will lift to welcome them to the waterfront.
Yeah, another big Rose Festival event, of course, is the Grand Floral Parade. I've got the forecast for that right now. It's not rainy, but it's still cloudy outside. Those clouds are going to clear. We're going to warm up, and we'll talk about the weekend, which looks great.